Hello, I'm Sally Magee with Magee Coaching Solutions, and so excited to get this course kicked off. This is officially day one of the course, and I am thrilled that you decided to join us. You heard a little bit about my story in terms of my drinking history, if you will, in the welcome video. So hopefully you had a chance to take a look at that before today's lesson. And for today, I wanted to just kind of dive right in to the lesson here. So I've got a couple of slides. I'm going to start just with a very brief professional background, so you know a little bit about me as we get rolling. Just a little bit of my history, if you will. I have a bachelor's and master's in civil engineering, which really have nothing to do with this course. It just is the technical background that I started my career in, and from an engineering and project management background, I transitioned to leadership development and executive coaching. Around 2011 or so, I was certified as a master facilitator and have a number of psychological instruments, as they are referred to, as credentials. So I'm Myers-Briggs certified, as well as a Gallup certified strengths coach. I've done the positive intelligence program, another certificate program, as well as the Sober Club Sober Coach training in 2023. So I wanted to just give you a little snapshot of my credentials as we get rolling throughout the program. So I think I mentioned this in the welcome video that you're going to hear a little bit about my different approaches based on my background. I'm a trained scientist, if you will, with an engineering background. So the science was really important to me to learn about alcohol and what it does to the brain and body, as well as the psychology piece. So I kind of have about a decade or so of experience in both fields, and really I'm bringing both kind of approaches to this program when I crafted the curriculum for this 31-day course. So what we're going to do, so that was just a real quick snapshot here, is roll right into the first lesson. And what I wanted to do is give you a framework really for how the program is built, and a model called ADKAR, which is used by organizations, but it also can be applied to ourselves as individuals when organizations are looking at making sustained behavior change within an organization. So as I mentioned, it also applies to us as individuals, and we can adapt this model to our own selves as we're looking at changing our behaviors. So the model is known as ADKAR, and it's, as I mentioned, is a behavior change model. And this is our framework. So just bear with me. I'm going to walk us through 5 steps here to explain the ADKAR model. And then at the end of the lesson, I'll give you some homework, some questions to think about for to really set the stage for a successful month for you. So this is like I said, an organizational change model used for changing behaviors within organizations and culture change, known as ADKAR. The important thing about ADKAR to know is that it is sequential and cumulative. So it goes in order, steps ADKAR, and each step builds on the previous step. So we're going to start with just kind of explaining what each of the steps are, and then how that applies to our situation when it comes to our drinking habits. So the first one is awareness. That is the first A in the ADKAR model. And, you know, I would maybe back up a little bit and just explain that typically when people are trying to implement behavior change, many times we jump straight to step 4, which is the ability, right? And they try different things, and sometimes it doesn't work. The ability to not drink, for example, it doesn't stick. Maybe you can go a day or two or a week or two, but then it's easy to fall back into those old behaviors. And that's because many times, and that may be you in this case, if you're experiencing that, you might be jumping straight to that step 4, which is the ability to drink or not drink, and then falling back into old patterns. And if that is you may have just simply skipped the first 3 steps. So that's why we're going to do this in order, because it's sequential and cumulative. So the first step is awareness. Simply being aware of a need for change, whatever change that means to you. In this case, the change that we're talking about, behavior change, is related to our drinking habits. So you signed up for this challenge for some reason. I don't know the reasons why you signed up for this, but you have some awareness about your drinking patterns and habits. You don't have to label it one way or another. I actually don't think that's helpful. But whatever drove you here, you have some awareness of perhaps alcohol is taking more than it is giving for you. Or maybe it might just be taking up a lot of mental space and you want to make a change around that. It's okay right now if you don't know what that change looks like, or if you don't know how to do it. You don't have to make a lifetime commitment. Maybe you just want something different. So that's the first step, is this awareness, the awareness of the need for change. Number 2 is the desire to change. People need to want a different outcome. A desire has to be there in order to drive behavior change. So there needs to be a reason to change. So my question as we get rolling here is, what is the desire that you have? Why are you doing this in the first place? My suggestion for you for this month is to consider, what outcome do you want to have at the end of the month, and how do you want to feel? So desired outcomes, for example, maybe you have health reasons, you want to get better sleep, have more energy, lower your cholesterol, have less anxiety. Those would be some outcomes that you would expect or desire to experience by the end of the program. But part 2 is having an emotion-based goal. That's an added step. So how do you want to feel by the end of the program, right? The outcomes, like having better sleep, how does that make you feel? For example, do you want to build self-confidence? Do you want to feel brave and strong? Those are some emotion-based goals that you might want to add on as some extra motivation. So your homework is to think about, what outcomes do you want and how do you want to feel? What is that emotion-based goal that you want to have accomplished by the end of the program? This is essentially your why, right? This is the why are you doing this? And that will serve as your motivation to carry you on day after day until the end of the program. So really get clear on what this why is. That's going to help to serve as your motivation. Number 3 is knowledge. Okay, so this program is jam-packed of knowledge, tons of things to learn. You are going to learn new things this month about the effects of alcohol, habit change, health, well-being, nutrition. You're also going to learn about Clifton Strengths and the 5 elements of well-being by Gallup. That's a little bit later in the program. Earlier in the program, actually starting with lesson number 2, you're going to learn some very tactical tools to deal with cravings and triggers called Surfing the Urge, playing the movie forward. So stand by. We'll get to the lesson in day 2. We're going to learn some of those very kind of fundamental tools that are going to serve you for a lifetime. And they work on other behavior type of changes as well, by the way. So be patient with yourself. You're going to be in learning zone this month. So as all human beings, as we are, it takes time to learn and it takes time to implement, right? So be patient with yourself as you're going through this learning process. Step 4 is ability. That's the step that I mentioned earlier, that maybe you're just jumping straight to this ability, either drink or not drink, right? And it's like a pass-fail. So without those first 3 steps, sometimes we can get ourselves tripped up over this drink, not drink, and this pass-fail type of mentality. But the ability is really this is the step where you practice what you've learned. So you learn in step 3, that's the knowledge step. The ability is where you're practicing. And at the end of the day, or the end of the program, what you want to be able to do is demonstrate that you can achieve your desired outcome and that you achieve your initial goal, right? So that's the goal for today. For example, today, it might just be get to tomorrow sober. And there you go. You have accomplished that goal, that initial small step of a goal, and you're demonstrating that ability to perform the behavior change, right? Okay, so that's step 4. Step 5 is reinforcement. And this is the really important step that is needed to make sustained change. So we can rely on willpower to get us through a day or 5 days or 10 days. If you want your behavior change to stick and be easy, it relies on the reinforcement piece, which is the R. And this is the positive reinforcement that gets the previous 4 steps to stick. This is the key to behavior change. It's not 21 days to make a habit stick or 90 days. I'm sure you've heard of those hacks. The trick is not the length of time. It's the positive emotion that makes the habit stick. So this is not only in the Science of Behavior Change by ADKAR, but it was also written about recently in this book called Tiny Habits by Dr. BJ Fogg. He's with Stanford University's Behavior Design Lab. It's called Tiny Habits, the Small Changes That Change Everything. So it's by various sources. This is what the science tells us is the positive emotion is what makes the behavior change stick. So the fifth step also, this is why the fifth step in your daily checklist is celebrate. At the end of every day, I want you to celebrate something as it relates to your new behaviors. So whether it's a, yes, I did it, or it's something you write on a sticky note to yourself, or some silly little, I don't know, high five that you give your partner, do something that is demonstrating a positive emotion that makes you feel good. And that making you feel good, that's the piece that gets you wanting to do it again. It's a little trick that we have, the dopamine in our brains that helps us to make that stick. So those are the 5 steps: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, reinforcement. You will see this again. So when I mentioned ADKAR in future models, this is the model, excuse me, in future lessons, this is the model that I want you guys to think about. Okay. So your homework for today is to do some journaling. Pull out that journal. Think about and write down your why. What is your why? Why are you here? Why are you doing this in the first place? Okay. What outcome do you hope to achieve? And I want you to get really specific and clear. What outcome do you hope to achieve? What commitment are you making starting today? Now, my assumption going in is this is a 31-day alcohol-free challenge. My assumption is you're committing to 31 days. But for some, that might feel a little daunting and impossible. So I want you to make a stretch goal that you can commit to and that you can achieve. And if that means 10 days, do 10 days. And once you get to 10 days, do 11 days, then do 12 days. You see how that works, right? If your commitment today is to stay sober today until tomorrow, then tomorrow make the same commitment again, right? So that's how this works. What the point is to make a goal that you can commit to and you can make happen. And then you repeat that goal. So start with at least 10 days is my suggestion, because it takes at least 10 days to detox and get all of the alcohol out of your systems and for your systems to start kind of going back to normal. I assume you can, well, I don't want to make any assumptions, but I'm hoping you'll commit to the 31 days. And the last question is, what emotion do you want to feel at the end of this challenge? What emotion do you hope for in this quest for alcohol freedom? I call it alcohol freedom versus, I mean, I do use the word sobriety, but I tend to use more alcohol free or alcohol freedom language because that's my personal journey. I'll spend one more minute just giving my emotion-based goal here. Just real quickly, I'll take the slide down. I did my first 21-day program in December of 21. I think I mentioned that in the welcome video. I did dry January in 2022, and then I moderated for a couple of months, and I realized it was just consuming my brain. The drinking, the not drinking, the counting, the rules, it just was completely exhausting. So my emotion-based goal was to feel liberated. I wanted to feel liberated and not fixated, not thinking about it anymore. That was my emotion-based goal. That's how I wanted to feel. And that can be super motivating in addition to just the behavior of drinking or not drinking. So as we get rolling for this challenge, that's the extra homework assignment, is to think about what emotion do you want to feel by the end of this challenge. Okay. I encourage you not just to jot it down in your journal, but to go into the platform, and there's comment fields at the bottom of the page. If you want to add your motivators, your why, your desired outcomes, your emotion-based goal, and so others can see it as some extra group support or some motivation, then I encourage you to do that. So that's your homework for the day. I hope you enjoyed the first lesson, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Same time, same place.